kind of like a castle. Hence, we call it the Pumice Castle. The castle is made of welded tuff from pumice, that light glassy rock. Red hot, it rained down from the sky after being erupted from the ground in an eruption around 70,000 years ago. Under its own heat and pressure, it compressed and melted and fused together to become welded tuff, a dense and sturdy material. Hence, the Pumice Castle resists erosion even as the walls of the caldera erode around it. And you can see where some landslides have been right near to the castle. And you've probably, if you've been watching, seen more traces of landslides. There's one right by the rim down there, straight out from, right by the water that is down there, straight out from us around. As Ranger Tom likes to say, Mount Mazama fell into the ground most of the way 7,700 years ago, but really it has never stopped falling, just it's in little bits and pieces now. Alright, at this tourist-friendly stop, seems a good place to talk about Crater Lake from the perspective of a tourist. In particular, this tourist, his name was William Gladstone Steele. We mentioned him a little earlier. He was the founding father of this park. He was a postal carrier by profession. He was originally from Ohio and later moved to Portland. By passion, he was a tourist and a hiker and a climber. He visited this lake for the first time in 1886, and he was amazed. He recorded his reflections. Not a foot of land about the lake had been touched or claimed. An overmastering conviction came to me that this wonderful spot must be saved, wild and beautiful, just as it was, for future generations, and it was up to me to do something. How, I did not know, but the idea of a national park appealed to me. Shortly after that trip, Will Steele made another trip to Washington, D.C. Somehow he managed to arrange a personal meeting with President Grover Cleveland and the Secretary of the Interior, and he convinced them to set this place aside as part of a Federal Reserve. But for Will Steele, that was not good enough. He wanted a national park. He continued the effort. He wrote over 1,000 letters to magazines and newspapers around the country urging them to support his vision. He wrote a book called The Mountains of Oregon that, among other things, talked about how this place should be a national park. He carried photographs by his friend Peter Britt around with him and showed them to people in Congress and all over Oregon. He made many visits to Congress. He formed alliances with influential people in state and federal government. After 17 years of tireless effort, Will Steele finally succeeded, and in 1902, an act of Congress declared Crater Lake a national park, the 7th in the United States. Will Steele also was key in organizing the Fleetwood expedition, the boat that came out here and measured the lake's depth and found that this was the deepest lake in the United States. That also helped his case to make this a national park, having something unique about it scientifically. Of course, in subsequent years, scientists have discovered many more special things about this lake. Its depth is impressive, its clarity is even more impressive. This device is called a Secchi disc, spelled S-E-C-C-H-I. It's named for the Italian fellow who invented it. The way it works is one lowers it down into the water and watches it from above until it disappears. Then you pull it back up, find that point right where it disappears, and check the length of the line. In 1997, Crater Lake set a world record. a disc, the Secchi disc, just like this one, same size. Park researchers lowered it 144 feet down into the water, disappeared at 144 feet. And on a typical clear sunny day, we can get disc readings of over 100 feet out here. So that makes this lake, at least by this measurement, the clearest body of water on Earth. All right, we'll go visit the answer to a mystery.